Hello, my babies, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to experience y'all and see the love that I've been getting on my last videos. And today I just want to jump into choosing spirituality. And, I heard this phrase before that said, religion is for those who are afraid of hell, and spirituality is for those who've been there and don't want to go back. And that's highly resonant. And I won't say, and I don't mean this in any way or any form of separation, but we do understand that with the evolution of humanity at this time, we have to more deeply understand raising consciousness and what we're creating in the collective here. And with religion, it served as a foundation for so long. And there are clearly many truths there. However, there's also a lot of ego there. And with ego, there's separation and there's a lot of fear. And so, I wanted to talk about choosing spirituality because a lot of light workers or those who are gifted, sensitive to energy, you know who y'all are. I don't even have to keep redefining it. Y'all know who you are. But when we go through different things on our life journey, as what I like to call our soul checkpoints, we essentially navigate what I've shared is a part of our purpose and clearing generational cycles and trauma and essentially what we no longer as a collective want here. And as part of that process, you see a lot of people who are initiated into their spirituality at whichever level of awareness. And then how can I say? Then they end up on a certain extreme of what it looks like to live and have that way of life. And this world or earth has been designed for contrast and for mastery and learning. And so when we're on those extremes, we put ourselves in that resonance of fear. Whereas the mastery comes from moving more into a balanced space, moving more into duality. And so, I share that because a lot of people that I care about, actually, a couple of people that I care about who are strong in their spirituality have been affected by this. I've been affected by it. And essentially, I feel this is why it is important to choose spirituality and see it from the highest or most expansive truths of universal understandings and what we can tap into from our own conscious connection. And the reason being is I feel like then we would be more free in some of our lifestyle choices, and it would just strengthen that connection as part of trusting ourselves. And, a lot of people that have been in this space, I think that they end up dimming their lights and they end up in spaces and places where they are in a resonance of lack and living out their life in a way where they don't even see money through the lens of abundance and being able to attract more money and having good feelings around money. And through our journey, we are tested on our relationship with money. And I see for myself, I have seen for myself, and I see within the collective that we go through these soul checkpoints or these certain stages that are to test our inner knowing, so that once awakened, we're able to navigate what it is that we want to change or create. And I don't just mean this from a motivational standpoint or sense of encouragement, as in through our life circumstances, we evolve and we're needing to be successful through life's trials. That's one part of it. The other part is because as a soul, we come here to have a human experience. And now more than ever, in addition to that, Earth has too lower of a consciousness. And so we're being called to navigate even tougher soul plan checkpoints to see, out of those who have incarnated here to make those changes and break misperceptions and misconceptions, that through those people, we're able to nurture some things that will restore more balance here. And, at a soul level, it does help us to understand creating from a place of abundance through our natural gifts and from places of fulfillment. And so a lot of the higher universal spiritual understandings include doing that creation outside of lack, for example, and within a higher meaning of karma. And so if you look at a soul checkpoint, for example, of growing up in a lower income home or having a path where you experience poverty in some form, those types of soul checkpoints, which when I say checkpoint, I don't mean a singular time in space. I mean a life stage, for example. It could be either or. But when you are tasked with that as part of your soul plan, once you move through that, you personally get to have an experience of what it's like as a human to endure some of the trials with that and or tests. And then from that, because you awaken to higher level spiritual understandings, it's this revelation of, okay, I felt this way when that happened. How can I transmute this into a higher resonance? And that could be through, a multitude of things, your gift as a singer, as an actor, and, even what's most needed now, which is as a spiritual example or messenger from different soul checkpoints like that, because Earth is at an imbalance right now with the true meaning of the gift for being able to create here. This is the only realm of creation through things that need to be changed within the collective. And so, let's say I mentioned karma, right? And so, universal understandings and karma at a higher consciousness level is more about cause and effect, not this happened to you because you're a good or a bad person, because we know that's not true under unconditional love. Another universal higher consciousness understanding. And so through that, it's important to know that karma is here more so that we have choice for what we're putting out and what we're also willing to give back. And I'm not condoning unnecessary violence, for example, but I'm speaking on why you may see violence here and it doesn't unfold the way that you would want it to with public figures, for example. And I say that because if you can operate in that frequency of, gang violence, for example, that, and you can handle what that lifestyle looks like, then you operate at that level of cause and effect. And I speak on this for empaths and sensitives, especially because sometimes we defer our power to a misunderstanding of karmic consequence, where we actually have choice to set better boundaries, and determine how we express ourselves, including cussing. Because I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a who, a how. No, because literally I've seen other spiritual creators, and they're popping out now. When I first got onto YouTube, uh, I heard one of my ancestors say, "Get on there and wild out," and I was like, "Ooh, wild out, like wild out," and it was like, "Yeah, like what you be doing in private, extended to the public." And I was like, but it is within intentionality and with intention, right? And so yeah, it's that, and decisions on what works best for us based on our own preferences and what our own experiences have shared with us, and have revealed to us. And so choosing spirituality will allow for us to not only be strengthened on our purpose, but also help us to better understand where our life is taking us and how we're co-creating our life, and misconceptions about how the world works at a larger level, so that we can operate in a way that supports us, and that's emotionally and spiritually and tangibly, as it relates to what we want to bring in as our manifestations. And so I hope, my babies, this gave you some clarity on, living more into your spiritual purpose, and giving you more permission and enlightenment to do so, because that is what spirituality opens the doors to. But if you had any commentary on some of the examples I provided, or you'd like to see more videos on where within spirituality there could be more examples for being more free and really embodying unconditional love as part of self, then please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.